Hi there, Mouseketeers! Welcome to the Disneyland Beat, where our toes tap to a Disneyland drum.
And we always whistle while we work.
There are 3 rides not included with Genie Plus's $20 fee. They cost extra. Rise of the Resistance, Webslinger, a Spiderman Adventure, and Radiator Springs Racers.
Today we have some tips and tricks for magic lovers of all ages who are considering Lightning Lane for these 3 attractions.
Come on into the parks with us.
Like, subscribe, and stick around.
Disneyland is your land.
Come seek an adventure at the old pirates, eh?
Make the jump to light speed.
Hi, I'm Amy.
And I'm TC, welcome. Well, for your $20, Genie Plus can gain you access to the front of the line for 23 attractions Lightning Lanes. But today's video is about the 3 rides that have a separate admission charge. And to get the service for just one of these rides, you can spend your entire $20.
Though there has been some exception at very early or very late park hours, the Lightning Lane service works pretty well and does get you to the front of the line quickly, often within a few minutes.
Standby lines still work just fine, often faster than posted, though they are sometimes extended due to Lightning Lane guests getting bumped to the front. If you live nearby, you go to the park all the time, purchasing Lightning Lane is probably not going to make much sense. It's not going to have a whole lot of value except on the most crowded days. Plus there's always single rider line, right? Now we have some tips for this crowd too though, sprinkled throughout the video.
But if you only make it to the parks occasionally or even rarely, then there is more value in Genie Plus and Lightning Lane, and it is likely something you are considering. So let's take a look at Rise of the Resistance at Disneyland and Radiator Springs Racers and Webslinger, a Spiderman Adventure at Disney California Adventure, and see if purchasing Lightning Lane is worth it for you.
Radiator Springs Racers has been the most popular attraction at Disney California Adventure since it opened, and if you've never experienced it, it's really a can't miss.
Standby wait times for Radiator Springs Racers usually sit around 60 to 90 minutes, even if the rest of the park is not crowded. If we ever see the wait time under an hour, we usually go for it. We've noticed that the actual wait times are usually 10 minutes shorter or so than what's posted.
If you're looking for a short standby wait time, you're going to want to be one of the first in line when it opens. The wait time stays pretty consistent all day until close to park close.
If you don't mind breaking up your group, Radiator Springs Racers offers a single rider line that usually gets you on the ride quicker, though not instantly or anything, but often much faster than standby. Although, full disclosure, this is one of the rides we usually like to experience with our group.
Lightning Lane's likely going to get you on the ride much faster, probably in 10 to 15 minutes. Purchasing Lightning Lane costs between $10 to $18 per person per ride for this one, depending on the demand in the park that day. So if you purchase Lightning Lane for this on a weekday, it's going to be cheaper than on a weekend. Also note that you can only purchase Lightning Lane for Radiator Springs Racers once on any given day.
Lightning Lanes have not typically been selling out quickly for this ride. You're usually able to purchase them from late into the afternoon or early evening and get a return time less than 90 minutes from when you book it. However, if the park is really busy, it will affect the availability.
Is it worth the purchase? Well, if you've already ridden it, then you know that this Dark Ride Combo Thrill Ride is one of the best attractions, and it brings people back to DCA again and again. And for first-timers, it's hard to argue the value of experiencing it. We think it's simply one of the best rides ever created by Disney Imagineers, and you don't have to be a Cars fan to appreciate it, though it does help.
Worth noting is that the ride often opens a little later than the rest of the land by 15 to 20 minutes, and that it does stay open until park close, so you can jump in the standby line 5 minutes before that happens and wait it out, free from FOMO. I also find that cast members are particularly efficient when it's almost closing time.
Webslinger, a Spiderman Adventure, is the newest ride at DCA in a new land, and it's the only family-friendly ride in Adventures Campus too. I mean, well, at least it's not the only scary-as-all-get-out thrill ride in the land. And for that reason, it is probably a can't miss for the occasional visitor. It might even be one of the major reasons you've made this visit.
Webslingers does have a traditional standby that's in effect most of the time. It does have the option of switching over to a virtual queue, but that's only likely to happen on the most crowded of days. The usual wait time has been sitting between 60 to 120 minutes. However, the standby line does seem to lighten up in the late evenings after many of the younger guests have gone to bed.
Unlike the other 2 rides on this list, you can do a pretty good visual check on the line for Webslingers. You can get an idea of how long it is for yourself. You can at least see if they're wrapping the line around backstage. So far, at least personally, we have found the wait times to be fairly accurate on this ride, sometimes even longer than posted. This one seems to be a fairly slow loader.
This ride does have Lightning Lane, costing between $7 to $18 depending on demand, which is quite a spread. Like racers, the Lightning Lanes have not been selling out quickly and have been lasting into the later afternoon and evenings on most days.
The ride vehicles, they sit up to 8 people, but you can really only have 4 people together, and you're only going to see those 4 people during the ride. But that said, it can be a competitive ride and it's a lot of fun to ride with a group.
Is it worth it? Well, we'd have to say that Webslingers is a fun and successful ride for what it is. The ability of the ride to respond to your hand movements is impressive, but it's our opinion that it doesn't begin to live up to the standard set by the other 2 rides. The pre-show is fairly forgettable, the playable ride time is not much longer than a couple minutes, and it's entirely reliant on screens. It's basically a modern arcade game.
However, it is our 8-year-old kid's absolute favorite ride at both parks right now, and the one that he wants to ride every time. He can't get enough of it. But even so, it's the ride on this list that we would be least likely to fork out extra cash for.
Rise of the Resistance is probably the most popular attraction at either park and the box that lots of visitors want to check off their bucket list. It truly is an incredible and epic ride.
The standby wait times for this attraction are not as unwieldy as they once were. They actually fluctuate quite a bit, and we've occasionally seen the wait as short as 45 minutes, but more often it's a 75-minute to 2-hour wait. We have found the actual wait time on this one to be less than what is posted.
The ride does seem to get shorter lines later in the day, but be careful. Rise of the Resistance usually closes at 8 p.m. before the rest of the park on most days.
There's no single rider line for this one, but you can get a rough idea of how bad the standby queue is by checking out how far the line is spilling out from the Resistance Forest. If it's all contained inside the designated queue, I'd hop in line. Standby shouldn't be too bad.
But we think overall lots of folks plan on buying this Lightning Lane in particular. The cost for Lightning Lane on this E++ attraction is usually the full $20 per person, and it's been very popular. Unlike the others, the Lightning Lane for Rise has been selling out relatively quickly most days, often within the first 2 to 3 hours the park is open. So don't expect to be able to purchase Lightning Lane for this one if you aren't arriving at the park until late in the day. And if you want it, don't hesitate.
Is it worth it? Well, this attraction is easily one of the best attractions in the world, and a dark ride like no other. With all of the pre-show stages for the ride, you're kind of getting a lot of bang for your buck, and of course, if you've not experienced it, it seems crazy to walk away without doing so.
Rise easily has the most extensive and entertaining queue on this list. The dark ride with its trackless vehicles at the end of all this only lasts about 5 minutes, but there's close to 15 minutes of entertaining queues and several pre-shows as well.
But with the hefty price tag of $20 extra per person, this ride just might be the one that's worth putting that extra effort into rope dropping.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Well, that's about it. Don't forget, you have to make these add-on purchases through the app, and you can do so whether or not you've purchased Genie Plus.
You get a 1-hour return window for these attractions, though they have a 10-minute grace period. And if the ride breaks down on you for the entire day, not just for a little bit, which totally could happen with these 3, Disney automatically issues a refund.
We hope this helps you make a decision about the extra cost Lightning Lane attractions at Disneyland on your next trip.
If you made it to the end with us, you are a Disneyland magic maker, and we really appreciate you.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you real soon, Mouseketeers.
See you real soon.
Red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive, nothing in sight, forever in flight, follow those lines, we'll make it this time, blurry street lights, work as a guide to memory.